Even my ex, he unfollowed me everywhere. And then
that makes sense.
I just found out he refollowed me everywhere.
Oh.
But I finally unfollowed him everywhere.
Whoa.
And I'll tell you why. And I actually what he did weirds me out too much that I was like, I just need to unfollow him because I don't want to actually ever accidentally see it.
What did he do?
ROTN, let me present to you the ROTN Podcast. The ROTN Podcast.
How do you want me to say it? Rotten.
What's up, guys? We are back with another episode 10 of the ROTN Podcast. How are we feeling?
I still feel like I'm dreaming that we have a podcast because I have been thinking about this for like 3 years now. If you guys don't know, Matt and I wanted to start this 3 years ago when we finally did it. And so every single time we sit down and actually are, here talking about the podcast, it feels really surreal to me.
Yeah, it's definitely become one of my favorite new things to focus on and do.
I love cutting the episodes into like little TikToks. And so if you guys haven't been following us on TikTok, it's at ROTN Podcast.
Yeah, you've been crushing it. We've had some good content go viral.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the TikTok family loves it when I'm kind of annoying because then those always go viral because they're like, oh, she's so annoying.
Really?
But it's the engagement. I mean, going viral isn't always the goal.
But building awareness is something that definitely has value.
Yes.
As far as understanding how content works. In social media, short form content is so valuable to understand the nuances. No matter who you are, what you're doing, how old you are, there's so much you can benefit and learn. No matter what business you're in, there is definitely a way to utilize it in some way, shape, or form that could have benefit to you.
Yeah, so TikTok's algorithm really pushes for content that gets engagement. So that's likes, favorites, comments. And so I've seen a lot of TikTokers nowadays will do something kind of wrong just so that people will engage and comment being like, you're doing that wrong. Like, that's not how you do it. And then those videos go viral. That isn't what I'm trying to do. But I noticed that when I'm doing something a little off, those are the ones that end up going viral for us. So.
Yeah, that's that's the weird part of how TikTok works. There's something off about a piece of content, but that makes it engaging because people want to watch it again, or there's a mess up. It's so interesting how the different platforms content works so differently.
Yeah.
And you know what's interesting? I don't know if you've seen that LinkedIn has been on the rise as far as like a very valuable social media content platform that people are really utilizing to build their networks, to build their businesses. And it makes so much sense. If your whole professional life is on LinkedIn and there's companies, there's businesses, then the content that you make that could be seen by a business or a company that you're interested in working for, that's such a great way of getting exposure and building your personal brand up, which is so valuable.
Yeah. When I was in college, we would have workshops on LinkedIn. It's crazy to think that we both have jobs where like LinkedIn doesn't matter, but in the corporate world, in most worlds, LinkedIn really matters for people and the connections they make and updating their resumes. Like I looked at my LinkedIn profile actually maybe a few months ago and it's so bad. I haven't updated it since like 2014, 2016 maybe.
I deleted my LinkedIn.
Smart.
Which I always think about because part of me wants to be on LinkedIn because I've done such cool things that I could build like a pretty baller LinkedIn profile. Yeah. Not to flex, but like with the social media content and a lot of my past work and, campaigns that I've worked on and the teams that I've ran and stuff like that. But part of me feels like a sellout if I make that's kind of
a sellout if you have a LinkedIn?
A sellout for me.
What does LinkedIn have to do with selling out anything?
All right, this is like what's in my head and it's probably not.
Okay.
Let's work through this really quick. So if I have a LinkedIn, it means that I'm trying to get recognition for my portfolio to be hired by a company. Is that safe to say? Or is there other uses? I know that there's a lot of good discoverability and connections you could build on LinkedIn, but if I'm trying to pursue music.
Well, I actually think you should have a LinkedIn and so should I. And even like the NFT stuff, when you said you're like a manager at Create Music Group, if it's not on your LinkedIn, it's not as believable.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to burn all the ships.
Are you talking about it in your music career?
Yeah. Should I try to go viral on LinkedIn?
Do people go viral on LinkedIn?
Yeah, you can post content on LinkedIn. I actually haven't experimented with it myself, so I'm not exactly sure. But Andrew's been talking to me about it in my ear for the past 2 to 4 weeks saying, LinkedIn's a huge opportunity with content. I don't know what it actually looks like if you can post videos, but I know that you can post stuff and there is a feed. So I don't think it's just essays. I think that you can actually post content, photos, videos. And I was listening to Gary Vee talk about how valuable that is, because you can sort of tailor your content towards trying to reach different businesses or companies that are potentially hiring, and how you build your personal brand could be so valuable on a platform like LinkedIn if you understand how to make content for different platforms.
The only thing I don't like about LinkedIn is the fact that you can't stalk anyone without them knowing you stalk them.
Yeah, they need to get rid of that.
They really need to get rid of that, because I can't imagine it being a popular social media company if people can stalk you and you know who's stalking you, so then you don't actually want to stalk them. And that's prevented me from like looking into people. Even my ex doesn't update his social media in any way, but I know he updates his LinkedIn, but I haven't actually looked him up in LinkedIn because I know he's going to see that I looked him up. And there's like this sense of pride where I'm like, I don't want to look you up.
You are the most prideful person I know.
I mean, I don't think he'll think twice about it.
I get it though. With an ex, it's like you don't want them to know you're kind of checking in on them, which is normal. I think that everyone does that kind of stuff. They're curious.
Have you checked up on your ex recently?
Well, she has me blocked on everything, including Venmo.
Yeah, that was the first one I got blocked on, was Venmo.
How funny is that?
Now I know. Actually, Venmo gives you so much information on what someone is up to.
I would actually see it after we broke up. I would see like, oh, she's going to like sushi or this, that with other friends. And she's paying someone for rent. Okay, she must be living with these people. It was my only real way of knowing maybe what was going on with her. And yeah, she blocked me on that eventually. So no ties. But I mean, my whole family, like my mom and dad follow, their Facebook friends and stuff like that. So they'll give me like high level overviews. I mean, she got married on the same weekend we got engaged, which is pretty wild. And I wish her nothing but the best. When you're with someone for,
5 years, or was it 4?
It was 4.
4 years?
Yeah. I mean, it's a weird thing in general to think that you could be so close to someone for a 4-year period and then never talk to them again.
Yeah, that's why I don't understand people who like absolutely hate their exes. I'm like, well, you fell in love with them at one point, and unless they did something really shitty to you, like why do you just start hating? Like, how do you just start hating someone? Like you have so many.
I think it's an interesting conversation.
Yeah, you have so many experiences with them. You probably experience a lot of first times with them. Like you experience so many amazing positive things with this person. How can you start hating them? And hate is such a strong emotion that it's like, wow, you're putting a lot of energy into like hating someone when like, did they actually do anything that bad to you?
Well, if you think about it, hate and love feel so close because you need to love someone in order to really hate them. You need to care enough about them to hate them, or else there would be no reason to even have an opinion about someone.
Hating someone takes a lot of energy though.
But I don't think it's safe to say that if you're blocking your ex, then you hate them.
No, I don't think so. I'm talking about it with my friends when they talk about their exes. A lot of my friends literally hate their exes, and it's like, it's a lot of work to hate someone. And two, like at one point you really truly cared and loved them.
But they could disappoint you.
Like I can disappoint you, right? But does that mean you can start hating me just because I didn't meet your expectations for something?
Well, it depends what they did.
Yeah.
Because if we're in a relationship and we're engaged, the stakes are so much higher, obviously, when you're in a committed relationship with someone. So their actions will affect you so much more. So if they do something, it's so hard not to take that so personal because it's almost that they owe it to you to show you a level of respect, care.
I mean, yes, but if I disrespect you, does that mean you get to hate me? I get if I cheat on you, if I talk shit about your family, those are maybe more reasonable reasons to start hating someone, but purely we didn't work out, I think you're kind of a loser, and then hating you afterwards, like,
well, that's different. Yeah, I don't get that.
Yeah, I just don't get that as well. And for me, I feel like whenever I've broken up with anyone in my past, I've always had this level of respect where I don't really talk shit about them in like such a way where it's like really negative. Like I'll like, I'll be honest with what they did, but I won't like talk shit about my exes unless they like cheated on me. And that's the only time. Yeah.
That's definitely grounds for hating someone.
Yes,
I think
yes,
that's safe to say.
Exactly.
That deserves a Venmo block. If you cheat on me, you're getting blocked on Venmo.
Yeah.
Facts. But I think also when my ex and I broke up, I remember for her to cut ties with me, it was really important for her to cut ties with me in order to sort of get over the relationship and rebuild things for herself. Whereas for me, I'm trying to understand the difference of why I didn't need to do that.
You're probably the instigator of the breakup. You probably felt more confident in yourself outside of the breakup. And you were secure enough in yourself. I feel like it really goes down to like confidence and like who was the breakup versus the breakee and how you feel like going into your single life. Because my ex also, I don't think he blocked me on anything except Venmo, but he unfollowed me everywhere. And then
that makes sense.
I just found out he refollowed me everywhere.
Oh.
But I finally unfollowed him everywhere.
Whoa.
And I'll tell you why. And I actually so he started posting a lot on his stories and it kept showing up. And I was like, I could mute him so I don't see him pop up on my stories because I am very curious, but I don't care enough to actually like see what he's doing.
Well, we all know that if you do want to see, which I'm sure you've looked, you probably used a different account and
I
just
actually
go to
have
it.
No, I didn't see. You know what? Instead, Mia actually told me what he did. And so then what he did weirds me out too much that I was like, I just need to unfollow him because I don't want to actually ever accidentally see it.
What did he do? What did your ex do to you that was so weird where you needed to unfollow him?
This is something, if you guys have watched Lauren and Jeremy's podcast, they've talked about this a lot. I am their friend that gets weirded out if my significant other or ex has ever dated another Asian girl. And
you're really weird about this.
I'm really weird about this. I think it really stems from the fact that, you know, in movie culture, Asians are represented as being very submissive or very sexually promiscuous, right? And so there is like there is an Asian fetish. Asian fetish exists. That's why on .com, I believe Jeremy told us this, the #1 most searched term on is and Japanese girl. That freaks me out.
It was either that category or that search word, I understand the hypersensitivity around it, but I think that it makes sense to me. Like, I get that, but also I think that it's not safe to say. I don't think it's fair to necessarily put everyone in that box just because maybe they date another Asian person after they've dated someone. Because, I mean, in general, I think it's okay to have a certain type of person that you like aesthetically, visually, but also maybe from even a cultural standpoint. Not that I have, I'm only looking at Asian women, but I don't think there's anything wrong with having a type.
I think, and I get that sentiment. I personally think it's really weird. I personally have never had a type. My ex before you was Hispanic. My ex before that was Asian. My ex before that was half white, half Hispanic. Before that,
so there's a Hispanic trend here.
Filipino. Before that,
you got a lot of exes. You can keep going to every category here.
We're talking about like literally like high school boyfriends at this point that don't really count that much. But the reason why I got so weirded out by his story was that he had tagged an Asian girl, clearly his girlfriend. And the thing with my ex is that it wasn't once or twice. This is actually the 4th Asian girl he's on.
Okay, maybe and there's that
was the last straw. It really freaks me out, and I just didn't want to see that. I don't want to remember him in that way of like having this. And I don't know if he does or not, but like clearly his last 4 girls he's either dated or has been with have been Asian, and freaks me out. I don't want to think that I'm another statistic in his little like I want to date a small little petite Asian girl. It just freaks me out. It freaks me out. So I decided to just unfollow him. Like,
that's fair. I guess the only thing my thought is you do leave out the other side that isn't so intentional around this submissive sexual fantasy that I think you brew up a little bit about people that maybe gravitate towards Asian women. I don't necessarily think it's always this submissive, type of fetish thing.
Well, I think movie culture nowadays have really allowed Asian culture to flourish with Everything Everywhere All at Once, Bling Empire on Netflix, also Crazy Rich Asians, the book and the movie. They've shown that Asians can be more than just smart people who are submissive and are sexually promiscuous. At least for females. I
never even thought that, which is crazy.
Oh, yeah, no.
I see that and I get that for sure, but that was never my thought. I guess growing up, there was an Asian community in my suburb, and if I'm remembering my thoughts about how I would perceive someone Asian, honestly, they were always super positive. I always thought they were maybe a quieter, more inclusive group, but seemed to be very organized, very smart, and very high achieving. Those were always the things that I saw on the outside. Obviously, I'm generalizing and stereotyping, but we all build our own perspectives about different heritages and cultures, and I think that that's completely normal. That's how human beings are, right?
Yeah, but that's why I don't want to date someone who sticks himself inside of a box and is like, well, my type is just an Asian woman, and without even him maybe being super aware of it, he probably has these ideas of what an Asian female should act or look like or feel like.
But what if...
It just freaks me out.
I know, I get that. And I guess my question is, what if he knows that an Asian woman suits him for his lifestyle as far as...
See, that freaks me out. See, exactly, that freaks me out.
I'm trying to, I guess there's no real way to navigate the conversation because it is such a touchy-feely thing. But I guess where I was going with it is if you really break down different cultures, for example, Asian people, they have immigrated to this country from Asia where the culture is completely different. In each culture's differences makes them a different type of person. They have different culture. They have different personalities that usually are maybe similar. I'm not saying that all Asian people are the same, all Hispanic women are the same, but I would say there's a strong influence that their culture molds who they are and how they are. And some people are attracted towards different type of personalities or energies. And so that's what I'm saying is, you know.
Yeah, but if you're dating 4 girls in a row or 6 girls in a row or how many girls in a row?
Yeah, maybe you need to at least go try another.
You need to try something else. And also,
and what if he tries another and then he comes back? That would be worse. Would that be worse?
Freaks me out. Yes.
Yeah, that's funny.
And I think the reason why I have such a strong hate for Asian fetishes is because I, as an Asian woman, I feel like I don't represent the TV persona of Asian females that they used to have in the past. You don't. I'm very sassy, very upfront, very headstrong, not submissive at all. I have my own thoughts and opinions. Yes, I'm smart.
Of course you have your own thoughts and opinions.
Yes, but I feel like there is this idea of like, because I think this all stems from when there was war, a lot of war happening in East Asia with Japanese war, the Vietnam War, the Korean War. A lot of white males from the U.S. would go over there to fight, and then they would bring home a male, like not a male order bride. They would come back and bring home a bride from these Asian countries.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Those females were very submissive because they're coming to a new country. They don't have friends. They don't have that connection with anyone else. So they probably were very submissive, and that's kind of why it felt like a lot of female Asians were submissive. I just don't like the persona or the stereotype that Asian females have. So when I see a male dating only males, it freaks me out. It's okay.
You said a male dating only males.
Oh, sorry. That
should not freak you out.
No, that does not freak me out. A male dating only Asian females freaks me out. I'm not saying this for everyone. If you're Asian, an Asian male dating an Asian female, I don't think anything of it. It's when other ethnicities are dating just Asian females.
Yeah. No, I get that. You know, I'm not Asian, you know, so
it's hard to relate to how I feel.
Yeah, exactly. So you're of course entitled. All I'm saying is in there, maybe be open as well to sometime down the road, expanding your thoughts on maybe not even putting a label or a judgment on it, because that isn't even something I guess I would notice. Maybe that's naive of me because I'm white, right? Like I wouldn't think, oh, this person only dates this type of ethnicity. But when you are that ethnicity, you're more sensitive and aware of it.
Yeah.
And it makes sense.
I will say that I'm not the only person who thinks this way.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Because I've talked to your brother's girlfriend. So Matt's little brother, Andrew, is also dating an Asian girl. They started dating exactly a year ago. And we've actually became really pretty good friends.
Yeah,
and
Kaylee is the best.
Kaylee is amazing. And I invited her to a Revolve event. And that was the first time we ever hung out, just the two of us without any of the boys involved. And she was like, I never told you this, but I was really weirded out when I found out that Andrew's older brother, Matt, is dating another Asian girl because she's Asian as well. And I was like, trust me when I tell you, when I found out that Andrew was dating an Asian girl, it freaked me out because what are the chances?
Trust me when I tell you that Andrew told me he was dating an Asian girl, I was a little freaked out.
Were you really?
Not freaked out, but I'm like,
really?
There has to be some influence, at least subconscious, and maybe not.
I like to think that he just saw that you were dating someone and you were in a healthy relationship, that he was like, okay, like, how do I emulate this without like really thinking about it?
Yeah. You're the first Asian girl that I've dated.
What about stuck your inside?
Yes.
Really?
First. And you would be my last, probably.
Are you sure?
I'd move on to...
Are you sure? Would you be weirded out if before you, I'd only dated other white men?
I would not be weirded out. I would have a different thought about it. It wouldn't weird me out.
What would your different thought be?
My thought would be, she has a type. It's white dudes. That's it. That would be my thought. That's as far as it would go. I wouldn't look into the reason, intention. We all are specific. You know, we're specific people, creatures, humans. And I think that a lot of people have types.
And it freaks me out.
Yeah.
I will still stand by that.
Yeah.
I personally just have never had a type. I feel like everyone I've ever dated looks so different from one another, acts so different from one another. I'm just trying to figure out what's right for me, and I guess it's you.
You guess.
I guess, yeah. I guess you're right for me.
I guess you're it. Sounds so convincing.
I mean,
you could have said, I went through all these different guys and you're the one. Instead, you said, I guess it's you.
I went through all these different guys and you're the one.
Oh, now you're bullshitting me.
No, I would never bullshit you. I would never bullshit you. Well,
anyways, switching topics. There's been a lot of interesting... I'm not sure if you saw that Microsoft is potentially investing $10 billion into OpenAI.
Jeez.
Which would value them at $29 billion.
I mean, I actually just downloaded ChatGPT, which is
GPT.
I just downloaded ChatGPT. I think I just say it so fast it sounds like GBT. It's GPT. I just downloaded it 4 days ago. It's $7 a week to download.
You have to pay for it?
Yeah, you have to pay for it.
I just made an account earlier and I don't have to pay anything.
Am I downloading? No, did I download the wrong thing? I'm paying for it. What the hell?
Wait, what did you download? I just did this on my desktop. Are you sure it's ChatGPT?
Why is it ChatGPT 3.ai? Maybe I downloaded the wrong shit. All right, let me...
Maybe you got scammed.
I got scammed. Damn. What's the app you downloaded?
I just made an account online.
And it's free to use?
For now, at least.
All right, perfect.
Oh, yeah, you used the wrong thing. You used ChatGPT that has 3 stars and 44 reviews.
Is it this one that looks like a little flower?
Yeah.
Green flower?
That top one.
No, that's not the one I have.
There's like multiple.
Yeah, there's so many. That's why I had such a hard time finding it. And so then I settled on this one because it had really good reviews. Can you tell me what is the website so then everyone can use the free website instead of paying for it stupidly like I did?
Yeah, so if you go to chat.openai.com, it'll let you make an account, log in, sign up, and you could start using it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and it's really fascinating because it isn't often that a technological advancement like this comes into society. Mm-hmm. And this is something new that can revolutionize and change so many things. Yeah. I mean, we've been saying the same thing about blockchain technology and NFTs, and this fits within that realm as far as this could change so many things for education, for a number of different industries.
Yeah, it's crazy that students can start using this and really start cheating on their exams. Like, that to me is the craziest part, is there is going to be this huge new way of learning now because all these students have this advantage of like using the software to generate essays for them. And I will say I did use it. It feels very, there's no personality behind it. Like I try to do different prompts and stories to see like if I could get some personality from this software. There is not much to it.
So Andrew actually used it to make a piece of content for the Runaways Twitter for a poem. And it's actually a really good poem.
No way.
Yeah, I'm going to read it to you. We didn't tell anyone we used ChatGPT, but he used it. And I was going to actually go through and edit it, but I didn't have time and make some adjustments to it, which I think is the best way. And I'll get into that in a second as far as how to utilize it. Our community comes first. We prioritize your needs. We work to make a difference and plant the seeds. We listen and we act to make our community thrive. This is why we released the Hideout Huddle to keep our bond alive. We share our resources and lend a helping hand. We stand united in this diverse land. Our community is strong and full of heart. We are proud to serve and do our part.
Oh, that's so cute. It's so cute. It is very generic though, but it's cute.
Yeah. I think that the nuances of ChatGPT is you have to get good at figuring out how to utilize it and what to ask it. So changing the way that you're, prompting it. But I'm going to start using it a ton because it can save you so much time as far as even when I'm doing creative writing and working on songs, there's so many different ways you can utilize it. Yeah. And I think the best way that you can utilize it is for giving you a good jump start or giving you a base to work with. And then you go through and you edit it and you tweak. And so I don't think that it's going to solve every issue, but I think that there are a lot of interesting ways you can utilize it.
I can see that. I mean, it is such a cool thing and such a great technology for a lot of people. And I keep thinking about it for people who, English is not their first language and they're trying to translate or they're trying to like figure out contracts or landlords or whatever they need to do, because there is such a curve to being an immigrant in the US. And I can just see my parents using this if they really learned how to use it.
I don't think it's that hard to use. You
literally just ask it questions.
You ask it questions and you kind of have a conversation. It's like it's a kind of a text back and forth. You just have a empty text box and you say, what are 5 reasons that the price of eggs have gone up since 2022?
Yeah.
Which it has, and we'll talk about that in a second. Going back to the Microsoft,
$10 billion.
$10 billion is a lot of money. And I think everyone should stop and pay attention. If a company like Microsoft is even considering investing $10 billion, then do not sleep on this technology. It is start utilizing it, get comfortable, at least try, or at least read about it so you know what's going on and you're not behind in this wave, in this new trend that people are going to be utilizing. And we are such a competitive society that if you can get an edge on someone by utilizing such brilliant technology, you should tap into it and see how you can utilize it to maximize everything that you're doing.
What's the craziest part, and I now see why Microsoft bought it, it's because
they haven't bought it yet.
Oh, they're just investing money into it. Is that what they're doing?
Yeah. The investment hasn't officially happened, but they're considering.
All right. Well, I can see why Microsoft wants to invest in it, because Microsoft, if you've ever used their suite, it comes with Word, Excel, PowerPoint. I'm actually more shocked that Google isn't the one putting money into it, because I think OpenAI is really going to compete with Google.
Well, that's what I was reading in the article, is some of the reasons that Microsoft is interested is because not only do they not want to be behind in the Web3 world of technology that has been emerging over the past 5 to 10 years, AR, VR, AI. Those are all legit, right?
Yeah,
AI,
NFT.
VR.
No, those are all.
Yeah. This would really kind of establish them and give them a good leg up in that sort of technology race, right? All these big companies are fighting in a different way for consumer attention, to lead innovation, to be the leaders of the industry.
Yeah.
And that was one of the main reasons, as well as ChatGPT is going to take a lot from Google's search engine.
Which is why I'm really shocked that Google didn't do the smarter move, which was trying to get into OpenAI sooner than Microsoft. And there is still a chance that Google will, because Microsoft still has yet to actually invest into OpenAI. But I think it would be even smarter for Google to do it, because I see this being a way as to compete with Google. Because when I was using it on my phone, I was like, oh, I actually don't need to search anything now, because I have this OpenAI software that can really do all the research for me.
I couldn't agree more. And looking into this article written by CNBC, in December, Morgan Stanley published a report examining whether ChatGPT is a threat to Google.
Oh, well, I was just coming up with these ideas on the top of my brain.
Well, you were spot on, because you know what this article is also talking about is a bet on ChatGPT could help Microsoft boost its efforts in web search, a market dominated by Google. The company's Bing browser has only a small share of the global search engine market. However, it is hoped the deal could help them firm chip away at Google's dominance by offering more advanced search capabilities.
It makes a lot of sense. Google, if you want to hire me as your business consultant, please. I would have told you months ago.
Yeah, and what's interesting about it too is it seems to be somewhat controversial and maybe even an ethical, maybe there's ethics involved in it. Maybe not ethics, but it is definitely a controversial conversation, because I read that New York City has banned ChatGPT for students and for teachers to use.
I get students. I don't understand why teachers aren't allowed to use it. Is it to start the curriculum? Like, why are they preventing teachers from using it? Also, how do you enforce those rules? As a student, am I not allowed to use it for any aspect of my education life or personal as well? Like, what is this ban exactly for? Also, why would you prevent students from learning a new software that could help them in the long run? Imagine when Excel came out, people were like, we're banning accountants from using Excel. Like, students are going to be the ones that benefit.
And I'm sure that there was a ban on Excel. I'm sure certain companies or organizations or something like that
look down on
look down upon it. But again, it turned into a resourceful tool for them to use in their ability to be an accountant, not replacing them, but actually adding a valuable tool for them.
Well, that's why it's so outrageous that New York City is banning ChatGPT for people who would benefit it from the most, which is students. They can cheat the most from it, but they can also benefit from it the most, because OpenAI can help them do the research, which is pretty much cheating, but they would learn the most. I feel like ChatGPT could also be utilized to explain, like, hey, what's a fun song I can use to memorize every single human bone in the body, right? Like, that's some really fun use cases you can use ChatGPT for, which students would need. But if you're banning it for students, why?
I think the reason is because we both know that the education curriculum is so far behind, so archaic, which we've talked about before, that when these new technology advancements come, they can't even keep up now, to the point that we are moving so fast that our education system is so threatened by new technology that instead of finding creative, stimulating ways to utilize this technology, which would further human beings, they are getting scared and they're banning it. And, you know, I think these are just some of the first, anytime something new comes out, you know, we've seen the same thing with NFTs and blockchain, you know, and we've talked about it before. When the street lamp was invented, people were scared that, you know, they're lighting up streets at night when they shouldn't be, and it was going to expose things. And every time something advances human beings, there will always be a backlash and a fear at first until it gets adopted. So I don't think this is going to remain intact, but even in the short term, I guess, based on the curriculum, they can't really do anything about this if this would give students such an easy way to cheat based on the curriculum. Unless they change the curriculum, it's probably not I'm not saying it's a good thing they ban it, but I'm saying based on the curriculum, I mean, it makes sense. But I can read you what the reasons are. So it is in New York, the public schools. Due to concerns about negative impacts on student learning and concerns regarding the safety and accuracy of content, access to ChatGPT is restricted on New York City public schools networks and devices. While The tool may be able to provide quick and easy answers to questions. It does not build critical thinking and problem-solving skills, which are essential for academic and lifelong success.
Mm-hmm. I agree. The number one thing that needs to be taught in schools with OpenAI becoming bigger is critical thinking skills. And I feel like that's what a lot of people are lacking nowadays.
Yeah. Interesting.
I'm excited to see what happens in a few years, right? I think it's going to be similar to how NFTs and cryptocurrency is evolving. In a few years from now, we're going to see how people are actually genuinely using OpenAI and what they're going to be doing with all this new information they have their hands on.
Clearly, people are very fascinated by AI. I mean, even when those face filters, when you can have it generate images. I mean, on
like
ChatGPT, yeah, you can have it generate images for you as well, not just text. I'm so here for it. I am going to try to learn as much about it as possible and utilize it.
How would you feel though, being an artist, finding out like the number, all the top?
Care.
No. Let's hear this out.
Sorry.
As an artist, how would you feel if you learned that all top 10 Billboard music songs were all songs written by OpenAI? Would that freak you out a little bit, being like, oh shit, like?
So I think we are probably heading in that direction. It does not freak me out at all. What would freak me out would be if the records we were listening to were completely generated by AI software, meaning there was no human being recording. It wasn't, for example, Drake's voice or Taylor Swift or whoever. It was a computer. I think people are threatened by creativity when really creativity is really just committing to an idea, right? Because there's a million ideas in the universe. If I'm sitting down to write a song, it's my creativity to decide to use those words and stick to that. So even if I use ChatGPT to say, write me a chorus, I'm still going to have to sift through it and make a good decision and do it in the right way where it's still going to be an artistic and creative approach. It's like producing music. You're just taking sounds that already exist, but you're putting the right sounds together in the right way. That's what producing is. You know, that's what the evolution of music has become. Before, you had to record every single instrument on the spot until beat machines and sample machines came out. Now you're taking other people's sounds. People probably were so threatened by that. And it took so long for society to accept sample culture and music in general. But that's kind of the same thing. You have to use you still have to use critical thinking and creativity to finalize a decision.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not even scared of it, but I would find it very, very weird if, you know, all top 10 songs played of the month were all OpenAI.
Yeah.
It would feel really, really odd knowing that OpenAI understands what humans want to listen to the point where they can create music that we listen to.
Well, that stuff kind of already exists. I mean, that's what an algorithm is. It's able to figure out what your interests are, and that's why TikTok has gained so much virality for people's ability to discover things that they're interested in.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah.
So it's just another form of it. But again, back to the conversation, it would be weird if they weren't tweaking anything and they literally took these things that were generated straight up and there was no editing done. And again, if it wasn't even a human being singing it, that would freak me out.
I think we'll get to a place where that happens, because as of now on TikTok, you can use voice filters and all you have to do is type a text and a voice comes out that properly enunciates everything. They might mess up here and there, but that's an easy fix for OpenAI.
Yeah, no. And even I don't know if you've heard, you know, they have AI where you can use people's voices like Juice WRLD to sing a song, and it's not bad.
I did not know that, but
it's
that's
really
crazy.
Yeah. I mean, think about deep fakes.
Yeah.
That to me is pretty terrifying, that technology is getting so good at filter and face recognition where you could be looking at somebody on a video and not even know, you know, they could put someone else's face on there. That to me freaks me out.
Gambino who did that? He made that music video where he had a lot of deep fakes.
No, that was Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, that's right.
Kendrick Lamar, one of the videos he put out in 2022, his first video back, I think it was The Heart Part 5, he utilized deep fake technology. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's pretty much the ability to use someone else's face and almost use it as a face filter.
Mm-hmm.
and it's very realistic.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So
and
wild.
It's scary. It's scary too. Because you could be doing some really not proper things while having a deep fake filter on, and people would believe it because it looks really authentic. There are times where you're like, it looks a little bit off, but it can look very realistic in certain settings.
Well, it's just goes to show that another 5 years of developing that technology, it will be indistinguishable and not recognizable that is using a face deep fake technology.
I wonder if 10 years from now, if someone was to commit a crime and it's caught on camera, they're like, no, it's a deep fake. That's not me.
That's
right?
so funny.
So we'll see. We'll have to see. But it's been a time in our life where a lot of things are changing and happening. And it's exciting because I feel like for a moment there, it felt like nothing. What more can we look forward to in life? Like what new things are happening with technology? It felt like technology kind of hit.
It stalled. It felt like a few years ago.
I'm still waiting for cars that fly. That's really what I'm waiting for. The Jetsons really made us believe cars could fly one day.
Is it an overrated?
What's overrated?
Would it be overrated to have flying cars?
No, I think it'd be so cool. And if it ran on electricity instead of gas, even better.
I mean, Tesla
could get there.
Yeah, who knows?
We'll see.
Still pretty blown away because we've been riding around in Tammy, your sister's Tesla, and it was actually my first time driving it, and it's so fascinating how fast it is and stuff like that.
You didn't even let it rip either. You were just like cruising.
I gave it a punch, but
Yeah.
Actually, that's not true. I drove Jeremy's.
That's the one you really went.
I cannot believe that is possible. So which car is that he has?
Jeremy has the Model S, and then Tammy has the Model Y, which is the SUV version.
So the Model S, for anyone who's out there, if you've ever been in one, you know, and if you haven't, it is the most wild experience. It felt like a roller coaster. He's like, "Are you ready?" And he punched it, and it's almost like a cartoon when your mouth is opening and then there's air, you're wobbling. And
do that again.
I could not believe when I drove it. It was scary how fast it was.
Yes.
You immediately just jolt. And the fact that it's electric, wild.
I remember being in the car with Lauren when we were driving down from Big Bear to LA, and she looked at Remy and goes, "Do you want to feel something crazy?" And we go, "What?" And she just floors the shit out of it.
Does she have the S?
I don't know which one she has. She has
I don't think she has the S.
She might have the X. I don't think she has the 3.
Gotcha.
Or the Y. I don't know which one she has, but she floored it, and I just remember feeling like my stomach just dropping. It's too fast. It feels like you're on a rocket ship.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's so fun.
It's so wild. I want to see another company come out and compete with them.
Well, I know the Porsche, they have their Taycans, and I would prefer a Taycan just because, the build of a Porsche is so much nicer than a Tesla.
Beautiful.
Yes. The inside of a Tesla is nice, but you can feel like, this is like,
it's really cool.
Leather.
It's futuristic. Yeah. It does feel a little
cheap.
Cookie cutter. I wouldn't say, yeah, maybe a little too
white.
Yeah, it's blinding. And I get it. It's a cool appeal, but I think that, it doesn't feel like comfortable. It doesn't feel homey.
What's that word? Sterile. It feels very sterile inside of a Tesla. Beautiful.
It feels as if you were in a movie watching the future, and this is what the cars looked like, and you're like, wow, so futuristic.
Yes.
No personality.
Yes.
But sexy. Cool, sexy, but lacking personality.
I actually only think the S is the prettiest, a pretty car. The other
that's
ones,
beautiful.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe. I'm like, that's a Tesla? That looks so sexy.
That's what Elon was going for, the S3XY, sexy.
Wait, is that really what he did?
Yeah.
On purpose.
Model S, Model 3, Model X, Model Y. What does that spell?
He's so funny, that guy.
I think he'll have to actually come out with an E model for
sexy.
Sexy.
That's so funny. Other funny other news.
We should talk about Logan Paul really fast.
Still?
Well, actually, a lot of people asked us to talk about it because he finally made his response. And our response to his response is that he deleted his response to the response to Coffeezilla. But he's having a lot of bad luck right now.
Yeah. I don't want to add to it anymore. I value him as a creator because I spend a lot of time watching his podcast. But
so you have a lot of respect for him after he came out with that shitty reason of an excuse as to why he didn't scam CryptoZoo?
I think that, yes, I've built up a lot of respect for him. And I don't think one video or one mishandling of a situation is going to make me lose respect.
Well, luckily he
especially for
deleted
something
it.
Like this. Yeah. And I think he's making it right. He realized he did the wrong thing.
But would he have made it right if it wasn't for Coffeezilla's response?
I don't know. It's hard to play that game. But I just know for me, as a person, I can tell that he's probably trying to do the right thing, and he seems like a genuine person. He seems like it affected him a lot, and he probably didn't handle it the best way. I don't think he handled it well. You know, he didn't take accountability. I think that's always a bad sign.
Yeah, but I don't think us discussing him takes away from your level of respect.
No. I know. I was kind of kidding. Like, I feel like we have talked a lot about him, but
we also talked about ChatGPT, and you wanted to talk about ChatGPT more. Also, it's really hard saying ChatGPT without
GPT.
That's what I said.
You said
ChatGPT.
You said GPT.
It's really hard to say.
GP is hard to.
GPT is really
GPT.
hard.
GPT.
It sounds like
GPT.
Yeah. Either way, I think Logan's response to Coffeezilla was just done in such haste, and it sounded like it's, you know, the craziest thing is, and I do like Logan as a creator. I have a lot of respect for him and his hard work ethic, but I think it was crazy how smug he came across in that video when he could have said all those things in a very calm manner and not said, well, now I'm going to sue you, dude. When he didn't even have the facts right, which is Coffeezilla lives in Texas, and in Texas, there is a one-party consent law, which means only one party needs to consent to being recorded. So Coffeezilla consented because he's the one that recorded it, and so it wasn't even illegal. So it's just like these little things he said that was like, okay, you hiring criminals, how does that take you away from the fact that you still did not deliver on the promises you had given to people? It felt like his statement was done very quickly, and I know a lot of people believe in him and are still all gung-ho for him, but I'm still waiting for a proper response because he deleted it, and so now he has to come out with something that really is
No, I agree with that. I do agree. And I think you could tell that he took it very, very personal.
Yeah.
His response was incredibly emotionally reactive, and I can tell the one thing from his response that really ticked him off was he was upset that Coffeezilla said that Logan Paul was scamming, which I don't think he was trying to scam. I just think he did a shitty thing and he didn't handle it right.
Yeah, because one was the intention.
Yeah, that's what I think he was so pissed off about. He's like, that's what he even said. He's like, that's where you up, was calling me, you know, like that I'm scamming. And I think that, you know, anytime someone feels so defensive, there is no healthy response or even the ability to listen.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think he was able to actually listen to what people were saying because he felt so defensive because he was being accused of something he genuinely didn't do, which he wasn't trying to scam people. It was a shitty situation. He got scammed. And that's what happened.
I'm glad it seems like that he is being surrounded by people that aren't yes men. I feel like when he first started out in his career and was becoming really popular, a lot of people surrounding him were just like, yeah, like whatever you do, there's no wrong. But I feel like with him deleting this response goes to show that there are people around him that are better for him.
I mean, at the end of the day, he's a walking businessman. His personal brand is worth so much money that at a certain point, if it has such a negative response, aside from him not having good people around, it's just hurting his business. But I do agree with you. He does have good people around. From what it seems on the outside, from the podcast, George and Mike, they definitely hold him down without a doubt.
Mike kind of agrees with him a lot, but I feel like George is the one that really, really has him questioning his opinions and kind of fighting him on like his thoughts.
But the thing is, and they were just talking about this on their last podcast. Really? Yeah, because who did they just have on? Andrew Santino, who's a comedian. He was on Dave, the show. He's Lil Dicky's manager on Dave. He just released a Netflix special. He's so funny. Shout out to Andrew Santino. He's also from Chicago. But anyways, they're on the episode. They're having this conversation about how he has people around him that tell him when he fucks up. And he was saying, yeah, Mike. Yeah, obviously George. But what the difference was, which was interesting, was I think he listens to Mike more because Mike's approach is like, dude, you got to stop this shit. Like, what's wrong with you? Whereas George's approach is a little more loving. And Logan was even saying, like, I do listen, but I don't respond as much. Like, I respond when someone just like comes at me like head to head and is like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
There are people that are like that, and then there are people the opposite way that just can't respond to someone being that harsh to them. Yeah. I think I'd cry.
Yeah.
I need it nice.
I think
soft.
I like when people are harsher to me.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Not you, because that's different.
So you like everyone else being harsh around you except me?
I think it depends what it is. I would rather have someone deliver me feedback very directly rather than tiptoe around it and not fully address what they want to say.
Yeah, and I'm learning how to do that with people. Like for me, because I enjoy getting feedback in a softer way, I also give feedback, or at least I go a roundabout way without being super direct about exactly what I need or want from someone. And I'm starting to like figure out that that's not healthy through our
NFT project.
Well, yes, through our NFT project, but also through our couples counseling that we've been doing. Because we've been doing, so Matt and I, if you guys don't know and are aware, we've talked about this in episode 1. We both go through couples counseling because we are really...
Counseling is a weird word. It's therapy.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. We go through couples therapy.
Counseling makes it seem, I don't know, there's something funny about like...
I didn't even think of it. I thought they were so interchangeable.
I know, I'm just messing around. But
yeah, so Matt and I go through couples therapy, and she has been really teaching us how to be... radically acceptable or radically accept our flaws for one another. But we've also been doing one-on-one sessions, and she's been trying to teach me how to be more direct with the things that I need, because I realize I'm not very direct.
No, you're not. You hold on to things and then you let them out and when it's past the point. And I'm like, and again, back to the way that people receive and also give feedback. I learned, of course, like working on the NFT project and working with you and Andrew, that I love when someone gives very harsh feedback, and I also give very harsh feedback. If we're working on an idea, I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
And I'll initially shut that. That's not how Andrew and I respond to your feedback.
Yeah.
Andrew and I was like, what the hell? He's like not being very nice.
Yeah, I know. And I think it's taken so personal, but to me, it's never a personal thing. I would rather someone shut down my idea with the strong reason why they think that it's not a good idea. And I'm like, I love that. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If someone's like, that's a bad idea. Let's say I wanted to put a star on the corner of my shirt, and that was my idea for the merch. Someone goes, I hate that idea. It's so simple and basic, because if we're a streetwear brand, we need to really flex that, da-da-da. I'm like, you just gave a great point.
I mean, I think we were just talking about how Logan Paul has people surrounding him. It seems like we don't really know that are going to tell him, yo, you really f***ed up, and you just need people like that in your life.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you.
Even if you cry, because I sometimes cry when people are like giving me criticism, just because I need it nice and soft, and you need to ease me into it, butter me up.
Yeah, I'm still tiptoeing and navigating on how to give you feedback, even when it's delivered on a soft pillow.
I think you need to work on it harder then.
Oh man, it's either I need to work on it or you need to work on hearing it.
No.
Prideful. Hilarious. Anyways, randomly,
what's up?
Have you seen all this stuff going on with eggs?
So you want to talk about eggs now?
Well, I just think it's so funny, because it's not funny at all, but the price of eggs have gone up dramatically in the past year. There's an egg shortage, and especially affecting California more than most places. And it's so funny to see the memes and stuff about it online, which is how it really sparked my attention. And I see a lot of people talking about, if you held eggs from last year to this point, you'd have this much money. And it's so funny the way that people are kind of talking about it in a meme cultural way, as if it was an NFT or a stock. But on a serious note, the price of eggs has gone up, I believe, 49% since 2022.
I hate when the government has said the rate of inflation is 7%. When it comes to food, it really feels like it's 50%. Everything is insanely expensive. I just bought 2 sticks of butter yesterday, $9.
Wow.
$9.
Yeah, the price of flank steak at Trader Joe's
$23 a pound now.
No, not for flank steak. It's $14.99. But
do you remember when it was $8.99?
I don't. I mean, I'm sure it was.
Do you remember when ribeye at Trader Joe's was $9.99?
Yeah.
A pound.
Yes.
Now it's $18 a pound at Trader Joe's, at least next to our Trader Joe's. But
which is why I always make decisions when I'm grocery shopping, you know, trying to bake in some of those more expensive costs and say, okay, normally I would buy this steak once a week. The price has gone up. I'll buy it next week. And instead I'll buy something where the price hasn't gone up so much. Chicken hasn't gone up a lot. It's definitely gone up. It
might.
Ground turkey has gone up a little bit, but not too much. And then pork, same, not too much. Same with salmon, at least at Trader Joe's.
Feeding you is expensive. You love meat and you want a lot of meat. I'm such a cheap date.
You are cheap.
I'm really cheap. Ramen, rice, chicken thighs.
No alcohol is the key.
Yeah.
You are cheap.
I'm so cheap.
But I do want to give people some statistics about the eggs. Last year, you could pretty much get a carton of a dozen eggs for $2.50, and a year later, people are paying over $7 for the same thing, which is wild. And the reason that there is a shortage of eggs is not necessarily due to inflation, but there was actually a massive bird flu that broke out in early 2022, which did you ever hear that? I
didn't hear about it.
I did not hear that at all. So this is news to me as well. And it continued throughout the whole year, and it affected nearly 57 million birds, including millions of egg-laying hens. 57 million birds. Could you imagine what 57 million birds looked like? No, that's what
makes me so shocked. Is this only in the U.S. is getting infected, or is it all across the world?
It doesn't say. I would assume it's probably in the U.S.
Jesus, it's crazy.
We don't import eggs from another country. If we do, it's probably Mexico.
I don't even think we import it. We have such so many farmlands in the U.S. that we can afford to actually.
Yeah, I believe we're the number one. We have one of the best food supplies in the world, and I believe we do a lot of importing and exporting from Mexico as well. So on the border standpoint, we're pretty efficient as a country.
You know how last week in our episode I told you that just the Central Valley feeds 25% of the U.S.? The Central Valley is only half of California. California as a whole apparently feeds 33%.
Wow. Is that the exact fact?
Actually, I think it's more, but I'm going to lower it just in case your dad comes for me.
Yeah, he's
like the stickler for the facts, and I really appreciate it because it's really forced me to make sure that I don't talk about things unless I know the facts for it, and if I don't, I actually just delete it out of the podcast.
Or spending the time to look it up and talk about it, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. I would rather pause and look up statistics and have a conversation about the actual facts that are being presented rather than trying to just recall it from memory. If it is something that's so specific.
Okay, over a third of the country's vegetables and 3/4 of the country's fruits and nuts are grown in California.
Wow.
So all the agricultural produce, we're not talking about like cows, we're not talking about meat, we're not talking about that, just literally plants. Over a third of the country's vegetables and 3/4 of the country's fruits and nuts are grown in California. So that's even higher than I said because I didn't want to overstate it.
I'm wondering how these storms, which by the way, we talked about this last episode, the storms came back. They were pretty bad. And there's been at least 14 to 15 deaths since. So sad. You know, I saw Ellen DeGeneres posted a video of her
home
and behind her where she's standing, there is just a river, which is just a flood. And there's so many parts of California that are underwater.
I know our groundwater needs it, but I'm wondering how much of our winter crops are being affected.
That's what I was actually going to with my point. I wonder how that's going to affect the food supply.
Yeah. If
it's going to mess with a bunch of crops and exports and stuff like that.
You know, I heard that LA has such a terrible system of collecting rainwater that most of the water that we actually need in SoCal is just going back into the sea because we have no way of collecting this massive amount of water.
Interesting.
Yeah, which really sucks because We've been in a drought for like 3 years. And so the rain is needed, but we can't even utilize it in an efficient manner because, of
course, we need the rain, and it just comes in such a dramatic California fashion.
Everything
I feel like
dramatic.
This is what you hear if you don't live in California. California is in a drought. Fires, and then all of a sudden you hear rain, and you just hear a lot of rain.
Yes.
It's so dramatic.
Dang. We have another submission for Am I Rotten? Do you want to hear it?
Do I have a choice? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I love this.
Okay. If you guys don't know, you want to explain what Am I Rotten is while I go looking for the submission.
So Am I Rotten is a segment that we added to the podcast. This is the third one I believe we're doing, where people submit stories to have us talk about on the podcast if they are rotten or not rotten. It's always just a fun way to engage with people and hear some fun stories.
For our submission form, I think I might change it so it's not just Am I Rotten submissions. You can submit your confessionals, any advice you want, relationship advice, business advice, whatever. Just because I think Am I Rotten is very specific.
Yeah, it would be great to get some confessions, some questions, some, advice, things that people want to hear us talk about.
All right, guys. Am I rotten for getting over my 4-year relationship so quickly after I caught my boyfriend talking to his ex? I recently ended a 4-year relationship with my ex, Jake, after catching him messaging his ex on Facebook.
Ooh.
Not good. Well, I didn't think they were hooking up. They were definitely flirting, and so I decided to end it. To work through my hurt, I started talking to an old friend that I always had a crush on, and we made plans to meet up at a bar. When we met up, the chemistry was unreal, and we ended up hooking up that night. A week after the hookup, Jake reached back out to profusely apologize and wanted to get back together. I told him about my one-night stand, and he started to cry about how hurt he was and how we can never get back together because I betrayed him. He's now spreading rumors about me, saying I cheated on him in revenge for him talking to his ex. My friends and family are all on his side, saying I hooked up with someone else too quickly, and it wasn't clear that we were officially done. So, am I the rotten egg? Should I have waited longer before hooking up with someone else?
I think the key in this response and answer is, what was the conversation when she found out about the ex? Well, we don't know, but it's the most relevant information to this, because if it wasn't clear that they were broken up, then that is really shitty. And
I think he's the one that f***ed up first. You were flirting with your ex-girlfriend on Facebook?
I think if you're flirting with your ex-girlfriend on Facebook, which is such a random place, which is clearly maybe a place no one checking or paying attention to, I think that is very suspicious. And if you're talking to an ex in a flirtatious way, to me, that's grounds for, I wouldn't want to be with someone who was flirting with their ex and I had to question that.
Yeah.
Or
find out about it.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And I don't think she thought she was cheating, which is why she told him. Like, it sounds like she at least told him that she hooked up with someone else. So I think really to her, they were actually broken up for a full week, which is why she met up with another guy.
Yeah.
Because a week after the breakup, Jake reached back out to him. Oh, a week after the hookup. But so I don't know how fast
to answer the
was.
question, I wouldn't say she's a rotten egg, because she was kind of pushed into this position where all of a sudden all of your trust goes out the window.
Yeah.
It is such a selfish thing to do when you cheat. For example, if you cheat on someone and you want to stay with them, you're expecting them to do a whole bunch of work that they have to do, because they have to forgive you and they have to retrust you. And that is a lot of work, and that's bullshit. And so that's why I believe she has every right to completely move on, even as fast as possible, because he betrayed her trust.
I want to know why the friends and family, though, are all on his side and not her side. Because if my friend did this, I'd be like, yeah, f him. Unless, well, it sounds like he's like spreading rumors that she cheated on him and they actually weren't broken up. So I want to know, like,
I guess it comes down to, was he really flirting? What was the conversation like? And how did they end it as far as this girl and her boyfriend? Did she find out and say, we're done, we're breaking up, I can't move on? Or was it, I need to figure out how I feel, and then she goes off and does this? That would kind of be shitty. And so I could see why friends and family from the outside would be like, you guys have been together for 4 years. You weren't going to work on it.
I'm putting my brain on as if you were doing it. I think if I flirted with my ex, I would understand why you broke up with me. But I'd be really hurt that you only took a few days to someone else when all I did was maybe just like flirt. Which, not okay. I'm not saying any of this is okay, but I would feel really, really sad that it only took you a few days. But on the other end, if you were to talk to your ex, I'd be like, you, I'm so hurt. I'm going to go someone else to feel better about myself, you know? So I don't know.
But that doesn't mean that it's right because you're responding that way. I guess as the devil's advocate, but I agree with you. I see why she did it, but I also see why people are maybe upset with her for doing that.
Yeah.
So what is your answer? Rotten egg or not rotten egg?
I don't think she's a rotten egg. I think she really thought they were broken up, and she at least admitted it to him, because she could have easily just like hid the fact that she hooked up with someone else. I think he's the rotten egg. He started it. He really started it.
That is such a Tiffany mom thing to say. You started it.
He did. He
4-year-old.
started it. I mean, let us know what your guys' thoughts are. Like, do you think he's in the wrong or she in the wrong? Like, I don't know if she's trying to get back together with him. If she always thought she would have known that like what she was doing was really hurting him. But like, she never said. Like,
it seemed she had zero intention to get back with him.
If she someone else.
Yeah. If she was upset, hurt, it was 4 years. She got over it really quick. I'm not dealing with this.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Which is kind of submission.
Which is kind of what that's what it felt like from what she submitted.
What do you think? Rotten egg, spoiled egg, or not even?
I would say he's rotten.
Same. We're on the girl
She
side.
has like there's something there. I wouldn't call her rotten, but she's ready. I would say she's ready. She's ready to be rotten, but she didn't do anything that I don't think.
She was ready to move on.
I think everyone can understand why she did it.
Yeah.
And to be rotten, I don't know if we can all, understand why you do something. Just know for the dude who was messaging his ex on Facebook, you should know that if you're doing that, what you're potentially sacrificing.
I think emotionally cheating is way worse too, especially with an ex. That really is up.
I guess it's tough because it is such a fine line, gray area as far as what's flirting and how far is it. Did they remain friends, and then they were kind of having a fun, like flirty conversation. That's where it gets a little difficult, diving into it, which we don't need to, but I could see where we would probably need, again, more context to figure out what was the relationship between him and his ex. If she just found out, he has never talked to his ex since we've been together, he's never talked about it, then yes. But maybe there's more to that. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, and, maybe in that circumstance, this girl knew that they were friends. That had been an ongoing thing in their relationship.
Yeah. Well, let's just state here that if I was to flirt with my ex or you to flirt with your ex, it is grounds for not working out.
Yeah, 100%.
100%, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just double checking here.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty obvious.
I wasn't sure with where you were going with the ex-boyfriend in this scenario where you were
just saying
it's okay that if they were friends, it's okay.
I'm just saying we don't know if this is the first time all of a sudden she's come back into his life.
Let me reread this in my brain so I can double check. She said, I don't think they were hooking up, but they were definitely flirting, and so I decided to end it. So definitely flirting. So it was like probably.
But she says she doesn't even know if they hooked up. So it makes me wonder what she actually knows about what was going on. But she said she decided to end it. So that is the key right there. If she decided to end it, she can do whatever she wants. People don't have to agree. I think it is shitty, but hey, the best way to get over someone is getting with someone new.
Is that the healthiest way? It's the easiest way. I don't think it's the healthiest way.
I don't know. I would say that there's no rules when it comes to breaking up and having a timeline as far as moving on to someone else, because everyone has different needs.
Yeah, everyone has different needs. Also, I heard that women, when they break up, they actually just withdraw for a long time before the breakup actually happens. So it seems like she was probably done for a while now and just like needed to solidify it by having sex with someone else.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, great submission. I love this conversation. Let us know down below what you guys think about who is the rotten egg in this situation. And it's okay if you guys have different opinions than we do.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good conversation.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see you guys next week for another episode of the Rotten Podcast. If you guys haven't yet, make sure to give us those beautiful 5 stars and comment down below if you guys are on our YouTube. We'll see you guys in another episode.
Later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.